All right, well, this popped up quicker than I expected, but I promised I would keep you guys up to date. And sorry about the flood of Last of Us 2 stuff. I also promise we're going to see a little more variety, most likely for the Make a Path Presents channel, though, because I am still finishing up the Day of the Dead Flaw and All review, and then we're going to poll and figure out what new fresh type of movie slash show pilot episode we can dive into. And I have a surprise vid as well in the works that will hopefully mix things up a little bit. That one may or may not still be in the zombie genre. Anyhow, I promised I would let you guys know when the pre-orders were open for The Last of Us Part 2 unofficial 1/6 scale figures. These are 12 inches tall. They do go with the Part 1 that I showed off and I also reviewed, and they're made by the same company, GianToys. Now, these in particular, I got a lot of questions about when they were popping up here for pre-order, so I do want to go over this, and I do want to let you know I have personal experience with GianToys. That's where I got my Last of Us Part 1 1/6 scale figures from, as well as a couple other accessories like the body for the Part 1 Ellie. I do not, and I will never pre-order off of eBay. I've seen recently a lot of people telling me how they did that and they never got it, and now it is too late. eBay can't help them because it's past the date. That is a known and common scam. Now, unfortunately, there's a few companies that are legit, but most of them I wouldn't trust at all. So I would say don't even trust them. It makes no sense to just not wait until they're starting to release and then go ahead and order. Don't order anything so far out. Anyhow, this site though is official. If you want to do a deposit, it's usually only $20 and you're good, and then you pay the rest of the price when it is in stock and they're ready to process. I also have the Lim Toys 6-inch Part 1 Joel and Ellie. Hopefully at the end of this year those will release. I got them on a deposit from GianToys on reserve, but this is Ellie. She's going to be $175, and she's going to come with kind of two outfits. You have the waterproof jacket, which if you take it off, you have the Seattle look. Do we have an image? Yeah, right here, where she has the undershirt and then the blue work shirt. I lost that picture. All right, so back to Ellie here. She comes with two alternate heads, one showing teeth with blood on the side of her head, as well as, here's a bigger picture here, blood here. In my previous video, if you want to see bigger images, I do show off all of the images bigger as well. This is going to go over just the pricing real quick, and then a little bit of conversation about them. Now, for Ellie, I will let you know, the only new stuff, if you have Part 1, the only new stuff she comes with is obviously the full body and the head and all that. The guitar is new. Dina's bracelet is new. The flashlight is a different type. The pistol with the Coke bottle silencer, which is pretty cool. This shotgun, the book bag, and the thigh holster. And I think some of the hands. I'm not really sure. Yeah, probably some of the hands, since Part 1 didn't give you a body. You bought your own, so depending on what body you bought. Now, everything else is pretty much the same exact from Part 1, it looks like. Now, Joel is a little bit better, and that's because most of Joel is the same as Part 1 except for the length of his hair, unfortunately. Now, he looks cool. I love Joel. He just didn't play a big part in Part 2, and there's not much here really to justify that. I would really have to think about it. If when they release, I'm just kind of sitting on money and I'm in the mood, I might end up copping them, but having Joel look like he looks in Part 1 for me is just way more nostalgic and iconic for me. Part 2, I don't know. I just don't even want to look at Joel in Part 2. Anyway, he has, maybe if it was like Joel, but there was something different, like maybe it was Part 2, but when they, in one of the flashbacks where he, I don't know, something just different. It looks too similar to Part 1. Plus, the only thing new is the guitar, which you get with Ellie, and the shotgun, which is maybe the one you get with the winter version. Outside of that, the coffee mug is the only, everything else, and the book bag, everything else you literally already have if you have Part 1. If you don't have Part 1, this is still a cool Joel to get. The coat is different from the winter version, and it's $150. Now, the best price is probably the clicker. And the reason for that, I feel, is because it needs some work. Now, if you try to just get a clicker head, you're probably going to spend that on just getting the head, and then you're going to buy a stock body. By the time it's all said and done, you're paying this price or more anyway. I think this is a solid price, and the clicker looks good. I love the split in the teeth. That's an absolute must when you make a clicker from this game. The coloring here, I did say I would have liked a little more definition and creasing in the flower head here. It does look like, well, maybe not. That might just be from the outfit. But on my clicker statue, clickers grow this like moss. So my idea is to do a little bit of a touch-up. See how it has kind of these pus bubbles and moss? I do want to do that with this clicker. For only a $1.13, I think this is a great price to allow people to kind of army build. Maybe get 3 or 4 of them. And I think GianToys or CC Toys should try to keep this in stock for as long as possible, because people aren't just going to buy it once. I may buy one when this releases, and then in 6 months I may look to buy another, and then a year later I might buy 2 more. And that's because you get a nice diorama with a couple clickers, go on eBay, buy a few different outfits, muck them up, shred them up, do a little color, add some pus, do something neat with customizing the arms, and bam, you got a better looking clicker. And you keep the price down. If this was $170 or something, I doubt many people would even go for it. So the price is there, and this is what I mean. Clickers are aged and old and nasty looking. This is a concept piece from part 1, but by the time we get to the final version in the game, they are really nasty. I would keep the pants on the clicker just so I don't have to do much customizing, but if you want to do something, go for it. But doing something with the arms, changing it so it doesn't look like just a plastic 1/6 scale body under there, and then adding a lot of blood. I've seen that technique for custom clickers, and that works really well because it hides the kind of base body that's under there. But you can do something as far as adding a little bit of that moss as well. That would be a really cool look. So I will be touching up. See how this clicker here, this is a statue that I have that is friggin' amazing. One of the best. And see how just the body itself just has a more charred and gross pus look to it, as well as I want to see if there's blood. Many of the clickers have this blood streaming down from where they're feeding. I want to see if the clicker has that, because that's, yeah, it does look like he's got that. Yeah, a little bit. I'd probably like a little bit more, but you can, if you get 2 or 3 of these, you can add as much blood as you want to the mouth, running down the face. But I think this is perfect price. $100, $114, fine. Let people, but keep it in stock. That's key, because people will come back around and buy this. I know it in my gut they'll army build. Some people might buy it right away. Me personally, I'm going to have to, sparse that shit out. But you have Joel, you have Ellie, and you have the clicker, and they are all open for pre-order right now at GianToys.com. I'll put the link down below, and this is a site that is official. You could just pop the $20 deposit if you want, or you could go full price. Doesn't really matter. But let me know which one you're going to get. If you're going to get all 3, or if you're just going to get Ellie, or just Ellie and the clicker. My 2 picks right now would be Ellie. I'll probably throw $20 down on Ellie and 20 down on the clicker for now. Yeah, they're all $20 for a deposit. Joel is one I'm going to have to think about. And again, the names for anyone new, they are unofficial figures. So the part 1 figures were called The Last Survivor. And this is The Last Survivor part 2. And this is the Jackson version of Joe. But it is Joel. That's just how they get around the licensing rights. Which normally I only go with official figures. They tend to look better. They tend to have higher quality control. However, it seems like Naughty Dog is just, I don't know, man, taking their sweet-ass time when it comes to releasing stuff. And I don't know if there's a reason for that. Maybe the idea is They're working out the HBO rights first before they, before things get too muddied. Maybe HBO and doing a movie contract, there's too much merchandise out, so they didn't know if they would be able to distinguish the movie merch from the video game merch. I've heard of stuff like this popping off with contract deals and whatnot. I've heard a lot of different things that can alter what gets made and what doesn't. But I would really seriously like to know why we don't have at least official NECA figures, because that would be another gold mine, I would imagine, as far as releases. You got the different looks from part 1. Part 1 probably sell the best. I mean, insane. You got all the different infected. You can tweak them up. You can reuse some of the tooling. And then you got part 2 characters, especially in multiple different outfits, like Ellie, even in multiple outfits. The infected, the different characters. I don't know, man. I feel like that's a missed opportunity for them. But anyway, the pre-orders are up. The only one I'm going to recommend is GianToys. They're the only ones that I have personal experience with. If you guys have dealt with other distributors that you know well and you have experience with, go ahead and share them down below. But so far, this is the best prices that I've seen. I've seen some of these on eBay with part 1. They sold for whatever the price was on GianToys, and then they were $20, $30, $40, $50 more on eBay. Some of them are twice the price, which is insane. So, Ellie, Joe, and the clicker. Ellie, Joel, and the clicker. All right, let me know what you think down below. I'm done talking. It's your turn.